Hey everybody, it's John Hope Bryant. I'm live from Chamonix, France. John Hope Bryant, the founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope, and the author of 3 books, working on my fourth. 2 are our bestsellers. The last one is How the Poor Can Save Capitalism, Rebuilding the Path to the Middle Class. The Solution for the 100%, and then there's Love Leadership, the New Way to Lead in a Fear-Based World before that. And the first book was on financial literacy, youth and family, financial literacy. I'm in Chamonix, France, a little French Alps town where I came here as a speaker, and it dawned on me that I needed to talk to you about something that was really important in my life from an early age. Good evening, Gail. I think it's Gayl, so I hope I'm saying your name properly. I want to tell you something that was, and by the way, thank you everybody. It's 12 million, last time I checked, 12 million plus views, probably more than that. 125, almost 125,000 likes on the page in 5 short months. Good day, Mr. Bryant from Sunshine Love. Hello, good day. And growing. Is this the movement is the civil rights movement is growing, and I want to make sure that you and I are. Good afternoon, as Reggie, stay connected, and that you know that you're talking directly to me. It's live, as you can hear me commenting on those who are coming online. Am I still going to write the book, the memo? Keith Rick said, yes, I'm actually writing that book right now. In fact, my wife was on my tail about not doing any writing today. I'm almost finished with the book. Hello, Ryan Mullen. And if you were one of the people who helped me pick the name, thank you very much. I did pick the memo. My publisher has confirmed that that is the name of the book. It'll be out September of next year. Like the new Mustang, bro, Justin. Well, you haven't seen it yet. All you've seen are pictures of what it might look like. Actually, that gets unveiled October 2nd. That's Meech Edge. Hey, JHB, we're here with you, brother. Thank you. So let me make sure I stay focused on the message. I'll try to acknowledge you as you guys come online. Yvette Dozier, hello. So again, broadcasting here from Chamonix, France. If you don't know where that is, Chamonix, a small French Alps town. I want you, it's right on the French-Swiss border. Hey, Virgil, good afternoon, Mr. Bryant. It's good evening for me, by the way, where I am. It's part of the message of why I'm here and why I think this is important, and really this connects a lot with my overall message to you. The title of this video is The Road Less Traveled, Your Road to Success. So let me get into this. I'll acknowledge those. Hello, Dominique. I'll acknowledge those that I don't acknowledge by voice as you come online. Todd Rogers, hello. I'll acknowledge you in my comments post. As you know, I always go back and will comment on those who leave intelligent and thoughtful comments. I respond to each one of those. Lily Harry, I think that's right. Hello from Colorado, Lily. Thank you for your message. That's Dominique. Okay, so the road less traveled. And what does it have to do with being in a small town in the French Alps in France? People often say wrongly, oh, this guy is rich and he's successful, and who is he to talk? Anybody who said that doesn't know my story. I want you to see where I'm broadcasting now, because this is, it's a nice room, but as you can see, it's not like some huge 5-bedroom suite. I mean, in other words, where I'm sleeping is right behind me. So in order to travel the world and to see the world, you don't have to live in the lap of luxury. And that's part of the message I'm going to be communicating to you. When I was growing up, I always picked the road less traveled. In fact, there's a book that I want you to read. It's about 25 or 30 years old. It's called The Road Less Traveled. It's by Dr. Scott Peck. There's a few books you should read. Of course, I think you should read my books, How the Poor Can Save Capitalism, Love Leadership. Because if you're not down with me, if you don't understand my background, then you can't really understand what I'm telling you. And anybody who just wants to pimp me for financial advice, you just need to sign off. If you're just coming to me to try to clamp down on something I'm saying because you think I'm a good financier, you're going to lose it, because that's not how you build wealth. That's like saying a rap star is going to build wealth. That's just not true. You can in fact, Quincy Jones says, if you think you're in the music business and you don't own publishing rights, or you don't own the rights to your writing, you're actually not in the music business. You're just a temporary performer. So folks who want to try to get snatches of this as if it's just a very narrow dimension of my life or of life, and then they say, well, I can reject all the rest. You don't understand what I'm doing, and you won't get any value. It won't work for you. This is a mindset. Civil rights is a mindset. That's why I keep saying that civil rights was waged and won in the streets, and civil rights will be waged and won in the suites. The camera's telling me to get closer so that you can see me. Hey, Ebony Young. That civil rights was about race and the color line, and civil rights will be about class and poverty. And that this movement's from the neck up. It's mental. And that poverty is not on your arms, slavery is not on your arms and your legs, it's not shackled anymore. It's on your mind, your spirit, your body. That's why I keep saying there's a difference between being broke and being poor. Philadelphia listening, hey, Duha. Being broke is economic. Being poor is a disabling frame of mind, a depressed condition of your spirit. You must vow never to be poor again. That's why I tell you to stop getting angry. Don't stop. Get all that anger out of you, because hurt people. And thoughts are things. And we're not human beings. A philosopher said that, it's not me. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Energy matters. And last one, since I discovered your website, I'm more aware of the spending habits. Thank you. That's woo-woo. I'm glad woo-woo. And I'm going to get you into your emotional and intellectual habits so you can really not just be rich and be sustainable, but be wealthy. I want you to stop struggling and surviving and start really thriving and really excelling in your life. So when I was growing up, if kids were hanging out on the street corner, I was at home reading a book. And it's in Compton, California, where I grew up in South Central LA. And I want you to read The Road Less Traveled by Scott Peck, The Coming Jobs War by Jim Clifton, and my books, which I've already listed. And then there's a few others. The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. Wow, there's so many. Well, just focus on those for the moment. So when I was coming up as a young man in Compton, California, South Central LA, I always was trying to figure out poverty and why were we trapped in it and how could we get out of it. And so I wanted to unpack poverty and repack it with, unpack wealth and repack wealth with poor people in mind and to set ourselves free. So I would ride the bus. I would ride the bus to Long Beach from Compton. There are people in my neighborhood who never got out of Compton, California, never traveled from there a few blocks from their house. It's all fear. I would go to Long Beach on the bus. I'd go to Carson on the bus. When I went to South Central LA, I would take the bus to Hollywood. I would take the bus to Santa Monica. I would go see the beach. Many people have never even seen the beach and live in inner cities, live in poor neighborhoods. There are people who live here in France, in the suburbs, who've never been into Paris. And that expands your mind, right? Just getting into a new environment expands your mind, and it lessens the depression. And so when I was coming up, if I could afford, to buy a couple pair of Nikes, I wouldn't do that. I'd go buy some products that I could resell. Candy, start a candy house, lemons and water and sugar, and create a lemonade stand. Okay, some way that I'm watching from my phone. There's a list of books to read on your website. No, but I'll go back, Ms. Daniel, and I will. I'm surrounded by people that haven't been 80 miles away from their houses. That's Terrence. Boom. Change that immediately, Terrence. And take somebody with you, right? And don't hang around people who are negative and who have not been 80 miles from their house, because they're going to drag you down into a negative abyss. The lady who asked about the books, I'll note them in the comments when I finish. So when I was growing up in Compton, South Central LA, I'd get on the bus, and back then it was called RTD, which we nicknamed Rough, Tough, and Dirty. So this was not a luxury line. In fact, you had an upgrade when you went from LA to Santa Monica. I've been around the world 4 times. I left them behind. That's Terrence. Fantastic. Now go back and get somebody who has talent like you, and then bring them up and sponsor them on one of these trips with you. So I would go on the bus to Santa Monica, because that was an upgrade from Rough, Tough, and Dirty. And I'd buy a bus pass. And my bus pass was it was like going on an adventure. I could go anywhere with that bus pass, and I'd go and just experience different people in different places. And if all you've been around is, by the way, if you've been around just Latino gang members, you think that everybody is angry and Latino and a gang member. In fact, you don't even know anybody else. You're afraid of it. If you're all even around angry black folks, then you think everybody's angry and black, or worse, you think the world is against you. If you all you've been around are poor whites in a small rural town with a high school education, then the world for you is just that small town and everybody else you're afraid of. And so education and exposure will set you free. And ultimately, you realize when you travel to a few places that whether you're white, black, red, brown, or yellow, you want to see some more green. And you realize how familiar we are. So I went from a bus pass, really just traveling through Southern California with a bus pass, and then going to other cities with a bus pass, to getting a bicycle and riding my bike because I didn't have a lot of money to different cities, and then just sitting in a cafe. You know, you can sit in a cafe in Hollywood or in West Hollywood or in Northridge if you're living in LA, or in Pasadena, and spend $2 for a cup of coffee, the same $2 it would cost you in the hood, but you're in a different environment. And when I got then I made a couple of dollars. I would buy a plane ticket. I wouldn't go buy a stereo. Back when I was growing up, buying stereos were the thing for your car, and it could cost you $800 for a stereo or a boom box. Remember the boom boxes we had on our shoulders? I wouldn't buy a stereo or a boom box. I'd go buy a plane ticket. Or, I'd drive to Mexico because you can get to Mexico from LA. You can drive in Mexico. I wanted to expand my mind. And if you're black, don't just go to Jamaica. I mean, these are great places, by the way. Go to support the island, support your people, but don't just go there, right? And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to cover this in my book, but if you're going to go to college, and I encourage you, if you have children, to tell them to go to college, because even if you want to be an entrepreneur like me, you want an insurance plan in your pocket, and that's a degree. Everybody who works for me has a college degree, by the way, even though I don't. Everybody who works for me has a college degree. If you're going to go to college, get an undergraduate degree. If you're a minority, it's at a historically black college university, or Hispanic college university if you're Hispanic. But go someplace else for your graduate degree. Go to some place in another country, or go to a mainstream place, because you want your relationships will in many ways dictate your economic condition. So I'm here in this little town, and people see me on Facebook doing this video. I get an email from a friend of mine saying, "Hey, you're 20 minutes from me. Let's get together." Well, this is the wife of the former French ambassador who, when I was a goodwill ambassador for the United Nations back in 1989, when I was 23, received me into France and into Switzerland as a friend. And if I had arrived as an angry black man, or thought that all white people were the devil, or thought that everybody who wasn't like me was a racist, they wouldn't have received me. We wouldn't be friends today. In fact, it's bias confirmation. If you think everybody's against you, then boom, everybody's going to be against you. If you think everybody's racist, boom, all you're going to find is racism. But if you think everybody's your friend, boom, then you'll find a friend. And so more than 20 years later, 27 years later, this person is still my friend. And they're like, "Hey, come visit, come have tea, let's hang out." And life's about relationships. Success is about relationships, because people do business with people they like. Now, this person happens to be Caucasian, but they're extended family as far as I'm concerned. And I love them just like I love you, just like I love my family. They're good people, right? By the way, I'm going to tell you a funny story about my ignorance when I was 23, just so you know that even if you're smart, you can be dumb, but you can also not take yourself seriously. So I was 23. I hadn't been to Europe all that often. I'd been made a goodwill ambassador to United Nations Conference of Trade and Development, UNCTAD, goodwill ambassador to the United States of America. And I'd been knighted the same year by Germany, but based on my work in South Central LA. So based on my good work in South Central LA, international bodies made me a goodwill ambassador. So I get to Switzerland, and this is a true story. No, I'm not making this up. It's embarrassing and funny, but I'm cool with it. I get to Geneva, and I love these Mont Blanc pens. I love, if you're going to write with something that's elegant, and I spend some money on these nice pens. So, and they're expensive, and they're made here in Switzerland. So I'm there, and they say at this park, a receiving reception for me as a new ambassador. All the ambassadors are there. And the French ambassador, Mr. Petit, he's so nice. And Mr. Ambassador Bryant, welcome to Switzerland and to France. And here's Mont Blanc. Look up here. It's Mont Blanc. By the way, I can see the mountain from where. This is Mont Blanc. This is so beautiful. We welcome you. This is the lake next to to Lake Geneva. This is Mont Blanc. And so I looked at the ambassador and said, "Really? They named the mountain after the pen?" Yeah, if your mouth is open, that's right. I actually thought they named the mountain after the pen. Obviously, they named the pen after the mountain, right? But what did I know? I had never been to Europe before, but I was dumb enough and optimistic enough. Mont Blanc and cross pins are my favorites. Well, I'm glad you said that versus saying, yeah, confirming I was stupid, because that was definitely a stupid thing I said. Yeah, she's laugh out loud. There goes Teresa Joseph. Yes, it is funny. And learn to laugh at yourself, right? Don't take yourself too seriously. I love that story then. I told it then. I tell it now. I was open source then. I'm open source now. And I know that I define who I am, not what somebody says about me, not even my experiences. And if you can laugh at yourself, the world's your oyster. If nobody can define you or limit you or change your view based on what they think about you, nothing can change you. The world can't stop you because you're unstoppable. So the road less traveled. If everybody's going left, I want you to go right. If everybody around you is angry, if everybody thinks the glass of this bottle is half empty, right? The world's racist, all police are bad, whatever. I want you to think the world is half full, right? The glass is half full. No, not all police are bad. Some police are bad. All white people are the devil. No, all white people are not the devil. There's some very good people in this world. I mean, even Malcolm X went to Mecca after being told for 20 years that white people were the devil, went to Mecca, saw white folks praying to the same God he prays to as a Muslim. He came back and said, my God, white folks not the devil. They pray to the same God. I met some good people. He was dead within 2 weeks, by the way. I won't get into it, but it's interesting. Dead within Harlem within 2 weeks because he was messing up folks' business plan based on ignorance. Go free your mind. So if you're hanging around people who are negative, who think that the world is half empty, everybody's against you, get rid of those people. They're toxic. 70% of your body's water, right? You're just flowing with energy, and you want that toxicity out of your system. I don't think most people, I missed that comment. No need to hate, I think is what Audrey was saying. So am I saying that racism doesn't exist? By the way, if you're white and you think that all black people are ignorant, then you're ignorant, by the way. If you're Asian and you think that Obama's the only intelligent man with a suit, then you need to get out more often. If you are mainstream and you think that black folks only bounce a basketball, rock a mic, or hit a baseball, or can sing, and we have no other talents, then you need to get out more often. And by the way, and if you're black, we need to have more examples of entrepreneurs and small business people and teachers and professors and doctors and lawyers so that we can prove them wrong, which we will. But that's all ignorance. Glass half empty is all ignorance. I want you to take the road less traveled, glass half full. So if everybody's angry, I want you to find joy. If everyone's full of hate, I want you to find love. If everybody is hating, I want you to find forgiveness. Okay, I'm about to run out of signal strength here soon. The camera's